This is a Mortarbox Media podcast. For more podcasts and to learn how we can help you create your own, visit mortarboxmedia.com.
Hello and welcome to Women AF Podcast, a podcast hosted by three friends who are delightfully unprepared for life and adulthood. Take two. Today I am joined by the smartass Carrie.
Hello.
Smartass Nicole.
Hi.
There's no context to that.
Okay, I was gonna explain context.
Okay.
After I got through the intro. Okay.
Good.
So that was the second take of our intro, because after I introduced everyone and Carrie, or after I did the intro and Carrie's like, you didn't introduce anybody. And then I introduced everybody because I had clearly been unprepared to host today. Then Adam realized he wasn't recording.
So we've got all our mistakes out. They're done. It's going to be perfection from here on out.
Yes. Fine. Literal perfection.
Yeah.
I realized I wasn't recording. And like I've said all along, that's always that's gonna happen someday. And thankfully today is not the day.
It was, but you caught it.
Yes. And to realize 30 seconds in, after I already messed up the intro, it seemed like if it's gonna happen, like that's a great time.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah. Good job.
So excellent. All right. So how is everyone's day, week, month, year, life going?
So good. So before that, like earlier today, I was sitting down and I was thinking, like, what the heck do I talk about in our BS section? Because I'm like Carrie this week and like nothing's happening. Like nothing's changing. It's cold all the time. Like I feel like everything is just the same. But at 3:00 today, something happened.
What happened?
Oh.
Yeah. So I was working at my job and I was kind of getting a little bit of a creativity blocker. Like I was doing this project and I'm like, I'm not feeling it. Like I'm feeling like I don't know. I was going through the creative process where everything sucks. I was at that point in the process. And I walked away from my desk being discouraged, being like, oh gosh, like I can't get this right. Why can't I get this right? I walked away. I came back. I got some water. I came back like 2 minutes later and I looked, and right above my desk, there was this beautiful, there was some sort of reflection, like the sun hit something. I don't even know what it was, but it hit some sort of reflective surface, so it created these beautiful colors right over my desk, and it was beautiful and magical, and I loved it. And I'll have to show you a picture because it like motivated me and be like, you got this, you can do this, like creativity, go. And
you should share that on our social media.
I will. I'll have to post about it and show everybody because I thought it was cute.
Maybe
that was fun to listen to just because Nicole was so excited. Oh,
you see that?
I do see that.
That color. I don't even know what it came from, but
it looks like an aurora borealis.
Right?
It does, but inside.
Yeah, and right directly over my computer and desk. I'm like,
wow.
Great.
Adam has his hand raised. Yes, Adam?
Oh, yes, Adam.
I just want to say that it is so adorable and speaks so much of who Nicole is deep down inside of herself, that her story for BS time is about the sun shining through a prism and creating a rainbow and how glorious it was for her.
Absolutely. I thought that was just the best thing.
It was perfect timing. Perfect timing.
So were you inspired? Did you bust through your creative block and
I think
crush
so.
it?
I think so.
Nice.
I will say that I was. I don't know if I was, but I will say that I was.
Okay. I will believe you.
Yes.
Well, we actually did something this past week, which I know I can't believe it myself, but we went out of town a little bit. we went to visit my mother-in-law, who we have not seen in over a year, and who you could tell was just really bumming hard that she hadn't seen her grandkids for so long. So we're like, and she already had COVID, so she's immune to it for a little bit. So we're like, we better go now. So we went to the town she lives in. We always stay in a hotel when we go, so the kids can swim in the pool. And so they were in absolute heaven. Plus they got Dunkin' Donuts, which, I mean, this was the best weekend of their lives. So it was pretty fun. I do have to say though, I don't like swimming in pools generally.
What? And you don't?
Well, no. And see, this is the thing. Everyone else does. And my family always gets annoyed with me because I'm like a stick in the mud and I don't want to play and I don't want to be in the pool. But I'm always like, I'm cold the whole time. I don't like being wet and cold. I really despise it. I did get in the pool like twice, like both days. I was like, I'll go in the pool, and it was fine and it was good. But like, am I the only one who's like, this is not fun?
I love pools.
Okay.
I grew up on a lake, so I love water. I love swimming. I went to Disney World when I was 7, and my favorite part was going to the pool at the hotel.
Oh, yeah. That was the same with my kids. Like, they would whine all day at the parks, and we'd just be like, all right, we'll go to the pool.
Right?
Yeah. It's obnoxious.
Especially if there's nobody else at the pool, and it's just your little family. Oh, my gosh.
Yes.
That is the best thing ever.
Yes, that's true. There was another family in there when we went down the second day, and they turned around. They're like, we're not going in. I was like, get your butts in the pool. It's fine. So, yeah. I don't know. I just don't. I'm just cold the whole time. And
are you? Do you go in the hot tub when they have a hot tub?
Oh. I was so excited for the hot tub, right? Because it's been negative 98 out for a week.
Yes.
And it was broken.
Oh, no.
That was like the first thing she said when we walked in, and I was like, I swear to God, you go fix that goddamn hot tub.
Fix it now.
So there was no warming up. So yeah, that didn't help me any. Yeah. But it was awesome to get out of the house and out of town and I like a donut too. So hey, had fun.
Donut?
I like a donut.
There you go.
Danny, what about you? What's going on?
As you know, I station, and part of my job is keyword research.
Yes.
And Carrie's making a face like she knows where the story is going. Maybe. No. Okay.
Go for it.
Well, so sometimes when you're doing research, you see how gross people are.
Oh, yeah. I remember we've talked about this in the past. Okay.
So of the categories of apparel that I have researched, one in particular that is disgusting is girls' school uniforms.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yes, it's real awful. So today I was doing research on intimates. So intimates are bras, underwear, and panties.
Oh, no.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
So the reason we got in this lengthy conversation in Facebook Messenger today about whether or not motherfucker has a space or no space in between is because I spent a large part of my afternoon being like, you motherfuckers are so disgusting. Do you not know how to do an incognito search?
Right?
Like, okay. So, and look, I like whatever, if you want to like do a search for some kinky stuff, right? Especially if it's like about adults that are consensual. But the problem is it's usually not about adults that are consensual. And that's where I get real mad or grossed out.
Ugh.
So hold on. So I'm a little bit more ignorant to this topic.
Okay.
So when you're doing this research,
Yes.
search the word intimates.
No, well, so I have different tools that I use that shows me, I can see, depending on which tool I'm in, I can either look at a URL on our website and see, okay, what did somebody search to get to this particular page?
Right.
So in that context, I don't run into that because we're not that kind of a website. So you get a lot of real standard stuff like women's bras or what size bra am I if you're talking about bras, right?
Yeah.
But then I can also use a different tool and I can say, like, I want all of the search terms in these dates that are related to women's bras. So it'll give me any related search term. And in this case, the related terms I was looking for was about women's bras, panties, and underwear.
Oof.
I feel like that would call up a lot of unsavory things.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, some of it was like, you know, like sexy underwear, whatever. That's not like a big deal. So, some of it was like, it just yucky.
Feel icky when you see
Yeah.
it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, my PSA out there for listeners, which I assume none of our listeners are going to do any of these grody searches anyway.
They would never.
No.
They would never. But if you do want to research anything or want to Google anything sketchy, my suggestion is to use an incognito browser.
So that Danny doesn't have a crappy day.
Yes. And I don't think about how disgusting people are.
Yeah. That works. That works.
Oh, boy.
Ugh. People.
So that's fun. But speaking of work, which is such a nice segue I made right there, right?
That was impressive.
Thank you. Today, so we've all been, not all of us, but everyone on this podcast has been working virtually now for a year, approximately. And we've all gotten used to Zoom or attempted to get used to Zoom and or maybe have gotten lazy on our Zoom usage and have made some mistakes, maybe some embarrassing ones. And so after the break, we're going to tell some embarrassing stories.
Remember when the big argument about leggings was whether or not they were considered pants? Ha! How naive we were back then. Since we all now live in leggings 24/7, I hope you're living in the most comfortable pair of leggings out there. Fabletics are comfortable, durable, and perfect for working out or lounging, whatever you're doing the most of these days. And if you sign up today from our website, you can get 2 pairs of the world's best leggings for only $24. Go to our website, womenafpodcast.com, and click sponsors for 2 pairs of Fabletics leggings for only $24.
All right, and we're back. With if you are on Patreon, you missed Carrie just showing us her Cobra Kai shirt.
I love
It's awesome. Thank you.
That's great. I like it.
I knew you would appreciate it, guys.
We do. I loved Cobra Kai.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think they made... Oh, go ahead.
I binged the first season and a half of it.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes.
It's so
Yes,
good.
we are caught up in waiting.
I'm just gonna wait so hard
With your shirt on.
with my shirt on.
I like it. I like it.
All right, so let's talk about embarrassing Zoom stories. Does anyone want to start?
Oh.
Or do you want me to start? I have a long list of embarrassing things that I've done.
Well, I feel like we're talking about this week because of me, because I brought it up, because I had a stupid moment this past week, and it's not my first, and I'm getting real sick of myself being an idiot, and it's so embarrassing every time, and I have to think about it and obsess about it for days afterwards. But my last one was we were in a whole department meeting. It was a whole mess of people. And someone was presenting something very, properly and nicely as they do and talking. And I suddenly just remembered something that we had to do, like my kids had to do that day, like my daughter had to do for school or something. And so listen, let me go back and say every single time you get that little screen that comes up before you actually go into the meeting that says, you know, there are so many people in here. We've muted your mic. Every time I look at that so hard and I'm like, I am muted. Yes, I am muted. Okay. So like, I know that I was.
Yes.
But no, all of a sudden I'm like, God, I got to tell her now or I'm going to forget and it's going to be disastrous. And I just screamed, Maya, come here! Because she was upstairs. As loud as possible with my face directly next to my laptop. And I could tell by the way the presenter just stopped like that. And I looked at my screen and of course my mic was on. Of course my mic was on.
Of course.
And I was like, I go, oh, sorry. And I just obsessed about it for the next 4 days.
Oh
like, what is wrong with me? What is wrong with me? And why? It's like my mic does it on purpose. Because it's not the first time where I've been like, okay, my mic is good, I'm good. And then something happens and I'm not good.
But also, like, technology is so weird too, where I've seen some posts. I think this week we had a little department meeting too, and somebody answered one of the boss's questions and said her response. And the boss looks at us and goes, was it just me or was she muted? Like, she was muted, but I heard her response. Like, it visually came up as you were muted. But
really?
She was talking. And I've seen some, especially with, like, teachers and stuff. I know teachers have a different privilege in Zoom where they can actually unmute people or, like, hear them even if they think they're muted. So technology in general is, like, trying to keep up as fast as we are trying to move things around. And it's just a clusterfuck.
It just betrays you at the worst moment. I can't stand it. Yeah.
Well, Carrie, if you remember, you told me that story, or you told us that story to make me feel better.
That's right.
Oh, yeah. Tell us your story.
Yeah, hear it.
See, at least I'm not the only one. Like, I know this much, you know.
Because I frantically messaged both of you after realizing that I had been on video in a call for 30 minutes, thinking I was off of video. And after I realized, and I know, so this was like one of those calls where like I was there to like just answer questions or consult. I wasn't leading. I wasn't a main participant. I was just kind of like there if people had specific SEO questions. And so I was like going through paperwork, and I think I got up a couple times and like walked away from my computer back, and like I'm sure I was eating or blowing my nose. Like I don't even know what I was doing, but I realized like a full, and it's not like it was a couple minutes. It was like halfway through an hour-long meeting. I realized, and most people were off camera, so there was only like 2 people on camera, and I was one of the 2.
So you would have been very noticeable, right? Like,
yes,
just because your camera was on, everyone would just kind of focus on you for something to look at.
Watching.
Yes. So I'm just like organizing my tax folder.
I mean, like I said, it could have been so much worse. Like, be grateful because, like I said, like I would have for sure picked my nose.
Or like I roll my eyes so much.
Oh, that would be bad.
I'm like, oh my gosh! But every single time I check, like I roll my eyes and I look like, oh God, was I on video? Like double checking. Oh my gosh!
See. In my company, you're supposed to have your camera turned on. You're always supposed to. So I'm just used to that. Yeah. So I'm glad I don't have to, like, I just know I just need to sit still and be
just on.
Oh, man. Gosh. Yeah, that's stressful just because you're going to think back about that whole half hour and be like, what was I doing? What was I doing? What was I doing?
Yeah. Well, and the worst part is, like, it wasn't like it wasn't my team. Like if it was like people I work with regularly, I know somebody would have just messaged me and like, dude, you're on camera, like turn it off. But it was like people I don't interact with a whole lot, which makes it that much worse because I'm like, I don't even know who I can message to ask if I looked like an idiot.
Yeah.
Especially like since you said that most people were not camera and you were, like that means you were pushed up to the top of the rank where like people saw.
You were front and center, my friend.
Oh my gosh, I love it so much.
It's mortifying. Nicole, please tell us you have a mortifying story.
Well, so I do, but it's not my work. So so at the beginning of the pandemic, I was furloughed for about 8 weeks. During that furlough time, I was living the life of like the kids were at daycare. I was just watching TV, getting up late, like just hanging out, living my like teenage self. And I tend to sing really loud, and you guys know me. I love to sing, just even if I'm off cue. I don't really know how to sing, but I love to sing. And I was really going through a Hamilton, vibe right then.
Sure.
So I was furloughed. My husband was not. So he was still working. He was still working, 7 to 4 in meetings with VPs and stuff. And I came down at least 3 times. And I came downstairs just belting out Hamilton to the top of my lungs because I know it kind of pisses off Jared. But what I didn't know is he was on a meeting a few times. And so I'm coming down, and I think there was a couple times where I was singing what is the song in Hamilton where it's like a little bit more of a raunchy song where they talk about the thing that happens between him and... Okay, you don't know. Anyway.
No, I'm sorry.
A little bit more risque song comes on, and I'm singing at the top of my lungs. And I come down, and I glance over, and our house echoes. I glance over at Jared, and he's giving me these "you're dead" eyes. Like, stop it this instant. And I see he's got the little earphone in his thing, and I'm like, oh, shit. And I like...
And he's probably got his camera on.
Yeah.
So he's probably like...
Yeah, so you could tell like he was giving me the dead eyes, but like in a casual...
Trying to be cool on camera.
Right. While he was trying to talk, and you could tell he was not muted. So everyone heard me just screaming at the top of my lungs. Something raunchy. And there was a couple other times where I was watching, like, have you guys watched the Bridgerton series?
Yes. Yeah.
So there's a couple episodes where there's like more of a risque scene in the episode. So I happened to watch that certain episode while he was in a meeting. And the entire time I lost the remote. Like it was somewhere in the couch abyss. And I'm like, shit. Like I had to grab it and like turn it down. And he was like yelling at me. And oh my gosh.
I love it so much.
Yeah, those sex scenes are loud.
Yeah, they are. And you could tell they're sex scenes. Like,
yeah, there's no question about that.
No, it's like full on panting sex scene. Like it's ridiculous. Anyway.
Oh God, I wish you would have been like, sorry everyone, excuse my wife, she's perverted or something like.
Or just like she's watching Outlander or like Bridgerton. Like it's fine.
Oh man, that's I love it.
That's
pretty embarrassing,
So-
but fun. At least you weren't like in the line of fire. You just over to the side laughing. That's
Right.
what I would have done.
Yeah.
So, like a couple weeks ago, I heard a story from a friend of mine where her husband was on a very important cameras on meeting with a vendor overseas. She didn't know, and she walked into the room in her underwear.
Oh shit.
And she didn't know right away, and he didn't know right away until like the vendor was kind of like, oh,
Oh no, the vendor said something. That's that's worse.
He said everyone on the call, like similarly to Carrie, what you said, kind of got quiet for a minute. Like, we don't know what to do here. And like, so she, of course, gets off camera right away and starts laughing. But like,
Oh my gosh.
I wonder how many times that has happened. And also, I was like, well, good thing that you weren't naked.
Yeah,
Well-
could have been worse. Could always be worse, right?
That was a trend at the beginning of the pandemic. Did you see that trend? Of like, if you're furloughed or unemployed or whatever, like the trend is to walk naked in front of your spouse.
Yes, I did see that. Yeah,
And
yeah,
then
yeah.
see their reaction because they're on camera. They're in a meeting. They have to be professional.
Oh.
Naked.
Wait, like for clarification, in front of your spouse, but not on camera.
But not on camera. Yeah, yeah.
Not, I'm guessing
Okay.
sometimes it probably happened though, because like if that's a trend, you're gonna fuck up
yeah.
sometimes, and you're gonna be like behind the camera, or there's a mirror behind them or something.
Yes, I bet. Yeah. I wish my husband worked from home and had meetings because I would mess with him hard. Like, I think that would be so fun. There have been times when, like, we're all on camera, but like we're in meetings that are so big, like all company meetings or something where there's like over 100 people or close to it. And so, you know, the people that like, there's only so many spots on screen that you can see. And then there's all, you know, those, it'll be like plus 98 people, you know, over in the corner or whatever. So I'm always like assuming like no one can see me. Like, and that has proven to be incorrect twice that I know of, because like one time my daughter came up and she was like, "Can people see you?" And I was like, "No." And so we were like looking at the people on screen and she's like, "Who's that?" And we were just like having a little conversation. And then after the meeting, someone was like, "Oh my God, your daughter's so cute." And like, I love the way, you know, and I'm like, "God damn it." Like, okay. And then it happened again. Huge meeting. I'm like, no way I'm on camera. And my son was like, "Can they see you?" And I was like, "Nah." And he was like just behind me in the kitchen, like doing his thing and like getting a snack. And that kid dances like probably 62% of the time he's dancing. And I wasn't even paying attention. I wasn't even worried about it. And like, we always have like a running side chat in our meetings. Like my company loves just like putting shit in the chat. Yeah. And someone was like, "Carrie, Christoph, I love your background dancer." And like,
Oh no!
he was back there just like cutting a rug. And I was like, that's fine. Like, that's cute. I like that. But like, how many times was I like, there's no way they can see me?
Right.
And clearly they all can see me all the time, apparently. I'm always on camera and my mic is always on. That's how I figure it.
Oh my gosh. Well, another awkward thing is like backgrounds to cameras. So as you can see right now, this is the office that I sit at, right? You can see this bookshelf in the back. There's a bunch of shit on it. There's also a bookshelf to my whatever. There's a bunch of shit on it. And I have gotten the comment of like, if you have a messy background, people in a meeting are trying to look at everything that's in your thing and like watching it. So it's actively brought up in my company, and I'm like, oh shit, like should I put in a background to be like casual, it's fine, like don't tell me where it is. But it's another layer of awkwardness with these actual meetings where like people can identify where you are and people can pick out like, "Oh, Carrie, you are in so and so
Japanese hotel
location." Right, yeah. Yes. But then like afternoon you're in the garage or something like that. Like it's completely different, and it's a weird topic of conversation, and it's just a whole
That's uncomfortable.
That is weird.
I know, it's awkward. And
I'm always very aware of my background. Like I will clear stuff out. Like so I do a lot of meetings from the kitchen, and I'll clear everything off the counter behind me. I don't know.
Right? I know.
Yeah.
When Jared was, so we switched where he is downstairs, but he was at the table, the kitchen table, and his back was to like the refrigerator and the sink and the countertops. We recently switched him so that he just has a plain wall background. But how awkward it is, like, you have to do your dishes. You have to, like, clean up the counter. And I'm like, this is an added stress
Yeah.
that I don't like.
The
Being
least amount of crap
creative person,
behind you. Yeah.
Right? Oh,
Definitely. Yeah.
know.
But speaking of backgrounds, can I tell you my favorite Zoom mishap story? That was not me.
Yes.
Yes.
But it was fantastic. It's my friend. So you know how you can put backgrounds up behind you, like digital backgrounds, right? Of whatever. I don't know. I don't do it, but I have to go back in time for this story. So I have a group of high school friends that we get together every summer, and several summers ago, we were trying to make like gross looking pictures to send to our friend who wasn't there, like make them look like body parts, but they weren't. So like the crease of your elbow, trying to make it look like a butt and like doing stuff with it, right?
Yes, I've done
So
that.
we did a whole bunch of those pictures, and this was like years ago, 3, 4, 5 years ago. And then last summer, instead of all getting together in person, we got together on Zoom because we had to, and we were talking about that because it was just so like when it happened, it was the funniest. We laughed forever, and so my friend was like, okay, so this, like, remember these pictures? And he had them, and he was like showing us, and then he would like he like put some as his background, so they would like like scroll through, and we're all like on Zoom like laughing like, oh my god, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
And then like a few days later, I get this messenger voice recording on Messenger from him, and he's like, oh my god, I was just in a meeting.
Oh no.
And those pictures we were looking at, one of them was my background. It was my background in the meeting. He's like, this is a meeting of 25 people. He's like, I couldn't get it. I couldn't change it. I didn't know what to do. And I didn't know what to do. And like, I could just hear like the like panic in his voice, right? Like just the mortification in his voice. And he's like, this is what my background was, and he put the picture in, and I don't think I've ever laughed harder than when I was laughing then, because it just looked like a big butt. Like, it just looked like a butt. And it's like, if that had happened, like in my company, if someone had done that, like it would have been obviously mortifying, but like, okay, like people would have, it's a creative company, people would have been like laughing and making fun and like having fun with it, no big deal.
Yeah.
But my friend is a lawyer, and so he was like in this like serious meeting for sure. And I was like, did anyone say anything? Because in my mind, everyone would be like, oh my god, what is that? Like, that's great, But he's like, no one said anything. And I tried to explain it. He tried to explain it away. Oh, God. And it's like, he like tried to explain to me how he explained it. And I was like, oh my God, you should have just not spoken at all. But it was the best thing ever. And I can't, like, that's much worse than anything I've done.
Oh my gosh.
I love that. Hilarious. But then again, I went back and listened to that message today just to remember it. And you can hear in his voice just like he doesn't know how he'll ever go on. He just wants to die, Oh, it's the worst feeling. And I know that feeling, but I still laughed really hard.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love it.
Yeah.
So this isn't like a Zoom error specifically, but I was in a meeting this week and I'm going to change the names, okay? Because I don't want to like embarrass anybody. And it was a really big meeting, and, we were all kind of going around to introduce ourselves. And the host of the meeting said, oh, okay, up next will be Danny, right? And, she just got married and I haven't had a lot of practice saying her last name. So, here's Danny Rivera. And then the other woman gets on and she's like, well, actually, I just got a divorce. And this is my maiden name.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
And then the host goes, oh, well, Yay for independence.
I love that response very much.
Me too. Oh
And
my
I hope
gosh.
I hope the person that got divorced liked it too.
Yeah.
It was,
That's tough.
I just have to say I was glad that I was off camera because like I legitimately almost spit out my coffee. It was so embarrassing / hilarious.
Oh, yikes.
Oh my gosh. That, and like how clever. Number one, calling it out. Like if there's 20 some people in that and like she called it out, like just let it slide. Number one.
Yeah, that's why I'm thinking she was like okay with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank goodness. Otherwise, she would have just been like, ugh, forget it.
Yeah.
And the other thing is like the cleverness of a comeback. That was so clever. Oh my God.
It was very smooth. Because I feel like I would have been like, oh my goodness, I'm so embarrassed. And like, I'm so sorry. And like made it so much worse because there's like 20 other people in the meeting. And then everyone else is just like slowly backing out of the room. Like, I don't want to get involved here.
Oh my God.
So uncomfortable for everyone.
Right? I love it. I love it. I love it when I'm not that person causing the awkwardness. Like normally I'm the one that creates the awkwardness, but I love just sitting back and watching it.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a delicious treat.
Yeah.
Right? I love it. I love it.
Nicole, do you ever have any issues with Hammer?
Yes. So I have a dog named Hammer. His full name is Hammer Time. He's got a Facebook profile. It's fine. He's official. But he loves, I don't have him here today, but he loves to sit right by the feet of my desk, like right there. Like Jared's downstairs. He's technically Jared's dog, but he just loves to just sit right by me. And he's also very protective of me. So for instance, about 2 times a day, Jared comes up from the main level. I'm up on the second level. Jared walks up the stairs, and the minute you hear that like creak of the stairs, Hammer, my dog, freaks out, thinks that it's an intruder, thinks that it's gonna kill him, and he has to retaliate. So without fail, he starts barking and yipping at the top of his lungs. It's right by the camera. It's right by the microphone. And it scares me half to death every single time. So when I'm in a meeting, I'm like, oh, freaking that. Like, I have to turn it off really fast. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. But he's still barking in the microphone. It's fine.
It's fine. People love dogs. So I feel like that's totally okay, right? Like,
right? I mean, it's a little loud, but
so was I when I did my Zoom mishap. And that was much less charming than it being a dog.
That's true.
I think it's okay.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. I've seen so many cat butts in meetings, I tell you.
I want a cat just so that they can come in and like prance on my desk because they're so independent. Like they come right on in front of the camera and like do a little side profile.
Yeah, they don't give a shit.
Right?
Like, yep, this is me.
I know, I love it.
I like it. Yeah, everybody likes seeing the animals, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
I was in a one-on-one meeting with my boss and my dog, River. So the couch is right behind me. So she jumped up on the armrest of the couch, put her front paws on my shoulders, and started chewing on my hair.
Of course.
While I was on camera with my boss, and I was like, don't mind the dog that's chewing on my ponytail. It's fine.
Oh my God.
This is how I work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or once Phoenix waltzes in the room and he goes, Mama, poo-poo caca. Poo-poo caca in my diaper. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I'm glad you all heard that.
Yeah. Oh,
That's great. Again, though, just like pets, I think people love it. People love it when a kid shows up.
Well, we would love to hear your stories. so that we feel less embarrassed about our own. So if you want to send us your stories, you can reach out to us on our email at womenafpodcast@gmail.com or on social media, Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter at womenafpodcast. And if you send us your story, we'll probably read it on air. But if it's embarrassing enough and you don't want us to read your names, we can make up a name or just make it totally anonymous, and that is perfectly okay. If you want to watch this video and see Carrie's awesome Cobra Kai shirt, you can find us on patreon.com/womenaf podcast. And with that, happy Zooming. Oh, wait. Before we wrap up this episode, there's something really exciting we want to announce. We are going to start a new series called 1 Year In. In case you all have been living under a rock for the last year, we are a year into a pandemic.
It's been a year. It's been a
year.
It feels like a year to me.
Well,
Oh my gosh.
I should say it's been a year for the U.S. You know,
Yeah.
living elsewhere, it might be longer. But it's been a year for the U.S. since we officially did the whole pandemic quarantine, safer at home, working from home, virtual living situation. So clearly, like, that's been hugely impactful. Local communities, small businesses, people,
Moms,
parents,
teachers.
yes, everybody.
Restaurants,
Restaurants. So our series, we're going to interview some local people to Madison, Wisconsin, which is in our area, and just see how has this pandemic affected their business, affected their personal lives, affected
Freudian slip.
affected their sanity. You know, and how are they doing after a whole year?
I can't imagine. Like,
No.
You remember at the beginning when like it was like 2 weeks? Like, locked out for 2 weeks. Oh my gosh, I can't. Oh.
Yeah.
Little did everyone know.
Fine. This will be fine by summer. We don't have to figure out school plans because it'll be gone by then.
It's fine.
It's just little like the flu, no big deal.
Oh my gosh.
And a year later, it's become like kind of a new norm. But also, I feel like even within the normalness of, I say that with heavy quotation marks, normalness, it's like even the norm of the pandemic changes week to week, month to month, right?
Right? Yeah. Uh-huh.
So
And
there's
like, and like how you go about takeout, how you go about like just interacting with local businesses, local, teachers and all that stuff. Oh my gosh, I can't imagine teachers like restaurants or like, oh my gosh. Oh, I'm excited. Yeah. It'll be good.
Yeah, so it's been a wild time, and even more so for the people who are trying to conduct business in the pandemic.
I'm sure they have a lot of good stories. Not good, but interesting.
Interesting, yeah. Maybe even inspirational for overcoming something wildly challenging.
True.
Right.
So stay tuned. We're super excited, and we are Women AF, and we know you are too.
Women AF is produced by Mortarbox Media and engineered by Adam Rostad. Intro and outro music is SQZ by Shane Ivers. Check him out at silvermansound.com. And don't forget to subscribe and leave a review.